My name is Miguel, and I'm 34 years old. I'm a shift manager at Pinnacle Creations, a factory in Tucson, Arizona. For 3 months, my wife, Sophia, had been repeating the same phrase. Not tonight, Miguel, I'm exhausted. 3 months of her turning away, citing sudden fatigue, or finding reasons to sleep in the spare bedroom. I stood in the doorway of our bedroom, watching her comb her hair at the dresser. She avoided my gaze in the mirror. The woman I married 5 years ago used to embrace me warmly when I returned from work. Now, she stiffened at the slightest touch on her arm. Sophia, we need to talk about this. About what? She placed the comb down too fast, her hand shaking slightly. About us, about whatever's going on. She turned to me, and for a moment I caught something in her eyes, perhaps fear, perhaps guilt. But then she flashed a rehearsed smile. Nothing's going on, Miguel, I'm just worn out from work. Sophia was a front desk clerk at Brightfield Solutions downtown. Same job for 2 years, same schedule, same routine. Yet now every evening she was drained. You've been worn out for 3 months. I booked an appointment with Dr. Lopez next week. Maybe you need supplements or something. I nodded, but a chill settled in my gut. Her response sounded practiced, like she'd prepared it in advance. That night I lay awake, listening to her steady breathing in the dark. When had she started sleeping so soundly? When had she stopped murmuring in her dreams? When had my wife become a stranger? The next morning I found her in the bathroom at 6 a.m., hunched over the toilet. She didn't hear me approach. Sophia, she jolted upright, wiping her mouth with her wrist. Miguel, you startled me. Are you okay? Something I ate, probably that Thai takeout from last night. But we'd shared the same meal and I felt fine. She brushed past me, already dressed for work. I need to leave early today. Big client presentation. I watched her grab her bag and keys. In 5 years of marriage, Sophia had never mentioned a client by name. Brightfield Solutions wasn't that kind of company. After she left, I stood in our kitchen sipping coffee from the mug she got me for our 3rd anniversary. It read, World's Greatest Husband *, the letters fading. The irony wasn't lost on me. Something was wrong. My instincts were screaming it, but I needed evidence before I acted. I had no clue how deep the truth would cut. I met Sophia at my cousin Louis's wedding 6 years ago. She was a friend of the bride, chuckling at something my aunt said. Her smile lit up her face, and I knew I wanted to know her. Our courtship was straightforward, dinner outings, weekend trips to Flagstaff, quiet nights with movies. She was 26, working part-time while finishing her marketing degree. I was 29, settled at Pinnacle Creations, ready to build a life with someone. We wed in a small ceremony at St. Mary's Basilica. Her parents came from Mesa. My family filled 3 rows. Sophia wore my mother's pearl earrings and teared up during our vows. The first 3 years were solid. We bought a house on Cedar Lane with help from my dad, a lifelong carpenter who taught me the value of owning something enduring. Sophia planted lilies in the front yard. I built her a shed for her gardening tools. We talked about kids, not right away, but eventually. Sophia wanted to focus on her career first. I respected that. We had time. But this year, something shifted subtly. She stopped asking about my day, stopped leaving notes in my lunchbox, started staying late at work, twice a week, then 3 times. When I suggested dinner at Antonio's, our favorite Italian spot, she claimed she wasn't up for rich food. When I got tickets to a Suns game, she had a sudden work obligation. When my sister Clara invited us for Sunday dinner, Sophia had plans with her old college friend, Emma. The closeness faded slowly, then vanished entirely. First, she was too tired, then too stressed, then too focused on some vague ambition. What ambition? I'd asked 2 weeks ago. Just things, Miguel, you wouldn't get it. That hurt. In 5 years, she'd never brushed me off like that. I started noticing details. Her phone always face down now. Her schedule suddenly erratic. Her wardrobe newer and pricier than her paycheck should cover. Last Tuesday, she came home smelling of cologne, not mine. When I asked, she said the office elevator was out, and she'd shared a ride with a coworker named Ethan. Ethan from sales? No, Ethan from logistics. But Brightfield Solutions had no logistics department. I'd visited her office once to drop off her forgotten lunch. It was all cubicles. The lie hung between us like an uninvited guest. That night, she slept in the spare room again, claiming she didn't want to disturb me with her restlessness. My wife was becoming a mystery. The question was, who was she now? The truth struck on a Thursday afternoon in early November. I was sorting through our desk, searching for the warranty for our dishwasher, when I found a receipt tucked behind tax documents, folded tightly as if hidden. Planned Parenthood, Tucson branch, dated 6 weeks ago. My hands went numb. It was for a pregnancy test and consultation. Positive result noted in neat clinical script. 6 weeks ago was when Sophia stopped letting me near her. The pieces clicked into place. The morning sickness she hid, her sudden dislike of wine at dinner, the way she guarded her midsection during hugs. My wife was pregnant, but we hadn't been intimate in 3 months. The math was cruel and clear. Sophia was carrying another man's child. I didn't shout or break anything. I sat on our bed, staring at the receipt, letting the betrayal sink into me. The woman I loved, the life we'd built, had been shattered. She was planning to pass off another man's baby as mine. I considered confronting her, demanding the truth, but something held me back. Maybe pride, maybe strategy, or maybe I just needed to breathe. I returned the receipt to its hiding spot. That evening, Sophia came home with Thai takeout and acted like everything was normal. She even suggested we watch a movie. "How was your day?" she asked, sitting beside me on the couch. "Fine," I said. "Yours?" "Busy. Dr. Lopez wants to do some tests next week. Routine stuff." I nodded, smiling. Inside, I was already plotting. If Sophia thought she could deceive me, she was mistaken. If she thought I'd raise another man's child without knowing, she was wrong. Patience was my strength. Sophia used to say it was what she loved most about me. She was about to see how patient I could be. Over the next few days, I observed her closely. The way she touched her stomach when she thought I wasn't watching. The way she skipped coffee in the morning. The way she avoided any physical closeness. She was stalling, waiting for the right moment to drop her news. I decided to let her, but I'd be ready with my own surprise. The game had started, and Sophia didn't know I was already ahead. 2 weeks after finding the receipt, I made my move. "Sophia, I've been thinking about what you said, about starting a family." She looked up from her plate of pancakes during a rare Saturday breakfast together. "What about it? Maybe we should stop waiting. Maybe now's the time." Her face paled. She set her fork down carefully. "Now, Miguel, we agreed to wait until I get that raise." "What raise?" "You never mentioned a raise." She fidgeted with her napkin. "It's not confirmed yet, but Mr. Thompson hinted at a supervisor role soon." Another lie. I'd called Brightfield Solutions on Friday, posing as a client. There was no Mr. Thompson. The company had 10 employees, all names I could list. "How long will that take?" "I don't know, maybe 6 months, maybe more." 6 months, when her pregnancy would be undeniable. "I think we should try now," I pressed. "We're not getting younger." Sophia stood abruptly, her chair screeching against the floor. "I need to shower. Emma and I are going shopping today." "What time will you be back?" "Late, probably." After she left, I sat in my truck for 20 minutes thinking. Then I drove to the library on Main Street and used their computer. I researched private investigators, divorce lawyers, and DNA testing options, jotting notes in my precise handwriting. By the time Sophia returned, I had a plan. "How was shopping?" I asked. "Good. Emma helped me pick out some work clothes." She showed me a bag from Macy's, 3 loose blouses and stretchy pants. Maternity clothes disguised as office wear. "They look great," I said. That night she slept in our bed for the first time in weeks, letting me hold her, though she tensed when my hand grazed her stomach. "Miguel," she said softly. "Yeah. Do you ever think about our future? What you want it to look like? All the time?" "What do you see?" I paused. "I see truth, 2 people who trust each other completely." She didn't respond. The following Monday, I took a half-day from work and met with a family law attorney named Ellen Carter. She was in her 50s with sharp eyes that had seen every kind of heartbreak. "I need to know my options," I told her, explaining the pregnancy, the timeline, the lies. "Do you want to save your marriage?" she asked. "I need the truth first," she nodded. "Get a DNA test, but be discreet. Don't let her suspect you know until you have proof." "What about timing, if she's 6 weeks along?" "Non-invasive DNA testing can be done at 9 weeks with a blood draw. She won't know unless she checks her medical records." I left with pamphlets and a plan. But first, I needed Sophia to make her move. That evening, she was unusually warm, cooking my favorite meal, tamales with green chili. She asked about my day and listened. "I love you, Miguel," she said as we washed dishes. "I love you too." It was true, which made it harder. I still loved the woman I married, but that woman might have been a fiction all along. 3 days later, Sophia announced, "I'm visiting my sister Carla in Mesa this weekend. She's having some issues with her husband." Sophia had one sister, Laura, in San Diego, happily married for 9 years. "How long will you be gone?" "Just Saturday and Sunday. I'll drive down Saturday morning, back Sunday night." I nodded. "Give Carla my best." That Saturday, I followed her. I felt like a character in one of Sophia's crime dramas, staying 3 cars back on Interstate 17, wearing a cap and sunglasses. She didn't go to Mesa. She drove 15 minutes to a neighborhood in Chandler and parked outside a small bungalow on Oak Street. A man greeted her, tall, fit, dark hair. He kissed her in the driveway like it was routine. I parked across the street, snapping photos, his license plate, the house number, the way Sophia leaned into him. They went inside. I waited 2 hours, then drove home. That evening, I researched the address. The house belonged to Daniel Martinez, 36, a contractor with Horizon Builders. No wife or kids in public records. Sophia returned Sunday night with bags from Mesa outlets and tales of Carla's marriage woes. She's considering therapy, Sophia said, folding a new sweater. I told her it could help. Did you mention us? Our plans for a family? She paused briefly. No, it didn't feel like the right time. Monday, I called in sick and returned to Chandler. I watched Daniel leave at 7:45 a.m., then followed him to a cafe on Arizona Avenue. I ordered coffee 2 people behind him, catching snippets of his phone call. Told her husband she's ready to try soon, a few more weeks until she breaks the news. My coffee tasted bitter. I left it behind and walked out. The plan was clear. Sophia and Daniel had a timeline. She'd keep me in the dark, then present the pregnancy as a joyful surprise, timed to seem plausible. I'd be expected to celebrate, plan for our future, oblivious to the truth. That afternoon, I booked appointments. One with a private investigator named Thomas Reed, who specialized in cheating spouses, and another with a DNA testing lab offering confidential services. How soon can you get results? I asked the technician. With samples, 48 hours for paternity testing. Can it be done without her knowing? As long as you're the legal spouse and provide samples from yourself and the child, yes. But the child wasn't born yet, and I needed proof before Sophia's reveal. I had one risky option left, make her think I suspected nothing while gathering evidence to unravel her deception. The chance came the next Wednesday. Sophia had another late meeting. I knew it meant another visit to Daniel. I was prepared. Thomas Reed had given me a GPS tracker the size of a dime. I attached it to Sophia's car while she was in the shower. I also installed software on our shared tablet to monitor her browsing, and I opened a solo bank account. When Sophia left, I followed the GPS signal, giving her a 10-minute lead. She went straight to Oak Street. I parked 3 blocks away and walked back, staying out of sight. Through the window, I saw them on the couch, Sophia's head on his shoulder, his hand on her stomach. They looked like a couple building a life, my life stolen. I took photos, clear shots of their faces, time-stamped to show Sophia was supposed to be at work. Then I called Thomas Reed. Run a full background check on Daniel Martinez, job history, relationships, finances, everything. How thorough do you want it? Thorough enough to know my enemy. The next morning, Sophia was quiet at breakfast, checking her phone constantly. Everything okay? I asked. Fine, just tired. Maybe take a day off rest. She looked at me sharply. Why would you say that? You've been working hard all those late meetings. They're important for my career, Miguel, I know. I'm proud of you. The lie felt natural now. I was learning to mirror her deceit. That afternoon, Thomas called with initial findings. Your wife's lover has a colorful past, he said. 2 messy breakups, 1 restraining order, and he's been unemployed since Horizon Builders let him go 6 weeks ago, behind on his mortgage and car payments. Unemployed? I saw him leave for work. Laid off. Also owes alimony to an ex in Prescott. 6 weeks ago, when Sophia got pregnant. Send me everything, I said. That evening, Sophia suggested dinner reservations for Saturday at Antonio's, where we'd had our first date. Somewhere nice, she said. I have something to share. Good news, I hope, she smiled thinly. Very good news. Saturday gave me 2 days to finalize my plan. I spent Friday at the DNA lab learning what I'd need. A hair sample from Sophia would confirm paternity post-birth, but I needed something sooner. The technician, Dr. Carter, explained, if she agrees to a non-invasive prenatal paternity test, we can get results in 72 hours with a blood draw and a swab from the potential father. And if she doesn't agree? Wait until the baby's born. But talk to a lawyer about how to handle the disclosure. I already had Ellen Carter's advice. Saturday morning, I called Thomas Reed. I need a full file on Daniel Martinez by tonight. Photos, records, everything. It's done. Sophia had no idea her plan was about to crumble. That evening, she chose Antonio's for dinner. She wore a new red dress, her hair styled professionally. She looked radiant but anxious, like a woman about to alter her life. We ordered our usual chicken Alfredo for her, ravioli for me. She barely ate. Miguel, I have something amazing to tell you. What is it? She took my hand, her palm clammy. We're going to have a baby, I feigned shock. Really? I took a test yesterday. We're pregnant, Miguel. After all this time, it's finally happening. Her lie was polished, rehearsed. Sophia, that's incredible. When did this happen? When's the due date? The doctor says I'm about 6 weeks along, so the baby's due in late spring. 6 weeks, perfectly timed. I stood and kissed her forehead. This is the best news. We should celebrate. I ordered sparkling cider, she said, smiling. The waiter brought the drinks. Sophia raised her glass, her eyes gleaming with what she thought was victory. I clinked my glass against hers, smiling back, but my mind was elsewhere. The dossier from Thomas Reed was waiting in my truck, tucked under the seat. It contained everything, photos of Sophia and Daniel, his financial troubles, his history of failed relationships. I'd also collected a hair sample from Sophia's brush that morning, ready for the DNA lab. Cheers to our future, Sophia said, sipping her cider. To our future, I echoed, my voice steady, but I wasn't toasting to her lie. I was toasting to the truth I'd soon uncover. Over the next week, I played the part of the excited husband. I asked about baby names, suggested we start decorating the nursery, even bought a parenting book from the bookstore. Sophia seemed relieved, thinking her plan was working, but I was waiting for the right moment. Dr. Carter had scheduled the prenatal DNA test for the following Tuesday, under the guise of routine prenatal screening. I'd provided my sample and secured a swab from Daniel, thanks to Thomas Reed's connections at the cafe where Daniel frequented. On Tuesday, Sophia went to her appointment, unaware of the test's true purpose. I waited at home, the dossier spread across the kitchen table. When the results came in 2 days later, they confirmed what I already knew. The baby wasn't mine. Daniel Martinez was the father. That evening, I sat Sophia down in our living room. We need to talk, I said, my voice calm but firm. About what? Her smile faltered. About the truth. I slid the dossier across the table, photos, records, the DNA results. Her face went pale as she flipped through them. Who's Daniel Martinez, Sophia? She opened her mouth, but no words came. Tears welled in her eyes, but I felt no pity. You thought you could pass his child off as mine. You thought I wouldn't find out. Miguel, I can explain. Don't. I stood, picking up the folder. I've already spoken to Ellen Carter. You'll hear from my lawyer soon. I walked out, leaving her with the wreckage of her lies. The next day, I moved into an apartment across town. Sophia tried calling, texting, begging for forgiveness, but I was done. The love I'd had for her was buried under the weight of her betrayal. 3 months later, the divorce papers were signed. Sophia moved in with Daniel, whose financial troubles only grew. I sold the house on Cedar Lane, keeping the profits in my new account. I started over, alone but free, with the truth as my foundation. Patience had been my strength, and it had carried me through.